Welcome to the Electrical and Electronic Engineering Lecture Series. Your anchor person is Professor Michael C. Ndinechi. Our topic is Communications Network Management, Part 1. The early 1980s saw tremendous expansion in the area of communications network deployment. As companies realized the cost benefits and productivity gains created by network technology, they began adding networks and expanding existing ones almost as rapidly as new network technologies and products were introduced. By the mid-1980s, growing pains from these expansions were being felt, especially by those companies that had deployed many different and incompatible network technologies. The primary problems associated with network expansion are day-to-day network operation management and strategic network growth planning. Specifically, each new network technology requires its own set of experts to operate and maintain. In the early 1980s, strategic planning for the growth of these networks became a nightmare. The staffing requirements alone for managing large heterogeneous networks created a crisis for many organizations. Therefore, automated network management, including network capacity planning, integrated across diverse environments, became an urgent need. As communication networks become more complex, there was an increased need to recognize and collect information from the network operations as well as maintain control. A network management facility can meet these needs while residing in a workstation and sharing the workstation's resources. Such an integrated network management facility, which operates in a shared or integrated environment, depends on techniques that make it adaptable to the peculiarities of the network. It also assists in the development of the facility. If we look at Table 1, which shows us the typical features expected in any network management system, we can see that they are categorized into control, management, and design. For each of them, what are required to be carried out are listed under. For the control, these are the normal operational functions that must be outlined at all times, as well as all matters relating to the network topology and connectivity. The management include the support functions that make the network operator's task easier. These can be offline in that they are not required for basic connectivity. The design. This helps in setting up of the initial network and evaluating proposed changes. Typical tools here are tariff files concerned with the public network offerings and facilities, traffic analyzers, network and node designs. Now, you can have three types of networks: distributed network, center-weighted network, and centralized network. Each of them has the features of a typical network and how they relate with. For the distributed network, say that in the distributed management type, the nodes in the network perform all the functions of the network. Every node has to know everything about the network, things like routing, topology, connectivity, priorities, and resources, and any other network function. for the centralized system say that it requires very little activity at the nodes. With centralized management system, one station acts as the supervisory station and controls the entire network, and other stations must receive permission from it in order to transmit. Advantages of centralized control include few problems in coordinating the activities of multiple stations, more options in terms of prioritizing access or guaranteeing access to each station, less logic circuitry in individual stations, thus simplifying their interface to the network. Center-weighted. The role of the center-weighted management architecture is to combine the advantages and best features of both distributed and centralized management. Therefore, the network assumes aspects of both approaches. The responsibility for controlling the network is divided between the nodes and the management system. We are going to look at part 2 to complete this lecture. Thank you for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe. Drop your comments, questions, or topics you want me to lecture on in the comment section.